Sotul didn't lie, it was the quickest break of them all, because we just made a small switcheroo, right, Sotul? Now you're casting.
Quick little musical chairs, spin around the desk. I'm over here now, you're over there. Easy game.
And I'm in the middle.
Here I am, stuck in the middle with you.
2.5.
Yeah, sure.
Anyway, this is the final game of day 2 at DreamHack Valencia. It will be Mitsuhide versus Fluffy. I think like we have spent already enough time talking about Mitsuhide, right? During the entire broadcast. So, Raven, you said you have something to say about Fluffy, right?
Yeah, well, the main thing about Fluffy, actually, is that he was Mitsuhide's practice partner for this event, and they have pretty much mirrored decks. So it's going to be a kind of a tough one. You're in top 16. You've got one more match to go through to top 8, of course, and it's against the person you sat and practiced with. I'd have to say that it means the lineup they came up with seems pretty good if both of them have got through this far. But also, it's going to feel bad going up against a friend, a practice partner, and know only one of you can make it.
Well, it seems like they're actually running a little bit different decks.
I think the 3 decks they're playing after the bans are mirrors.
Yeah, probably. The Rogue from Fluffy feels like it's his own flavor, right? He's being known for playing Rogue decks, so it's not a surprise, but now the bans are being different. Mitsuhide's Paladin is being banned, Fluffy's Rogue. So I see you're taking a peek on the list. Is there anything interesting that that comes to your mind?
And just confirming Raven's theory that yes, it does appear that these remaining 3 decks are, if not 30-card mirrors, very, very close. There's Evolve Shaman on both sides, both playing 1 Sea Giant, 1 Barnes, quickly becoming the standard list. Jade Druid with Yogg-Saron on both sides and Taunt Warrior on both sides. So yeah, as Raven said, members of the same practice group, very powerful practice group as well, because that's the group that with Orange and Powder that they put together as well, right? So really, really strong group overall.
Well, seems like a decent top 16 match for me. So let's just start the game as soon as possible. It's already late. We don't want to delay it anymore. Guys, take it away.
Yeah, so we are going to be getting into this very, very soon indeed. The players are pretty much ready, set up, and good to go. Mitsuhide versus Fluffy, in case you didn't catch that just before. And it's going to be a tough one, like I said. I do feel kind of bad that like practice partners have to go against each other in top 16. They did get through the Swiss, but at least for the team, as in the practice group, one of them's going to go through.
Yeah, there's a few ways to look at this. You can be sympathetic towards the cause that they've both done so well to get here, and they clash immediately in top 16. But the flip side of that coin is that, A, if you're going to win the tournament, you're probably going to have to take out a close friend or a practice partner or a teammate along the line. And as you mentioned, the silver lining, the bright side of life way to look at this is saying, hey, one of us gets to top 8 guaranteed. Yeah,
it's actually in a lot of other card games, the way it works is they form practice groups / teams.
Yeah.
And the goal is to get someone to win it. It doesn't matter who that is often. Yep. It's actually just, we want to win it as a team, and if one of us gets through, we've won. You know, it really is a group effort. Maybe it's slightly less so in Hearthstone, but I think the general feeling's there. You look at Alliance, right? Powder and Orange specifically. They practice so much together, and if, you know, Orange won DreamHack.
Yeah. I mean,
that is a team effort, basically.
Very similar thing with kind of the 6-0 Hoi teams. Like, they've traveled around together through multiple organizations at this point, but they really do, you know, take each win as a team effort. We saw how happy 6-0 was for Hoi's achievements over the last week.
Yeah, well, we are going to be getting into game 1, and because of these are pretty much mirror matches, I think the first game is going to be very important in terms of setting the tone for last hero standing. I
think even prior to the first game, your pick order in last hero standing in a complete mirror lineup match is actually super interesting, because
that's what I meant, like the initial pick as well.
Right, there will be one kind of solvable best pick in the mirror match. You'll be the one deck with the best matchups against the 2 remaining, but then that's also the predictable pick. So the counter matchup can then come out if you get the read on that. And with Jade Druid coming up against Evolve Shaman here, Fluffy has definitely got the best of the initial skirmish. This is a favorable matchup for that Evolve Shaman. But we have seen some Jade Druid players do some pretty gross things with ramp over the course of this tournament so far.
Mitsuhide being one of them. He won his last series he played on stream, 3-0 versus Jade Druid, and that was round 10. of the Swiss. And what's going to be cool as well, just to remind you guys watching, we've seen 2 of the round of 16 matches. The rest of them have been, and probably finished by now, been played out. We will update you with the scores at the end of this, hopefully, so we can give you what the top 8 for tomorrow is going to look like. It's the exciting bit, really, for me. It's like, okay, who is top 8ing this event? Now, though, it's just going to tick along. And, you know, these turns look relatively weak for now, but Flame Tongue Totem changes the power level of these types of turns. You know, just a couple of small minions down there.
Yeah, and honestly, unless you have a desperate need for a Flame Tongue Totem in this matchup, like say you really need to kill a Gadgetzan Auctioneer, or there's just a minion threatening to take down a value trade on the board, or you use Flame Tongue to protect a Manatide Totem, for example. Those kind of niche scenarios notwithstanding, the longer you can wait to use your Flame Tongue Totem, the better it is for you a lot of times in this matchup, because suddenly when you start chewing through, you know, 5/5 and 6/6 Jades, if the game gets that far, with just your totems and 1/2s, like that's such a tempo and value swing combined at the same time. It's really hard for the Jade Druid to recover from that a lot of the time.
Also as well, if you play an early Flame Tongue, then like Wrath is actually, I feel, a better answer early than it is late, because you normally want to do more with your mana. If that, you know what I mean? Like, it's like if you just play Flame Tongue and they play Wrath, then yeah, they're not ramping, but then the Flame Tongue is just gone straight away there, and you might not get as much value because you don't have that many minions on the board in the very early game.
I think I'm with you, but it depends what you mean by later. Like, you probably don't want to Wrath on turn 5 or 6. You'll be perfectly happy to Wrath on turn 10.
Sure,
right?
sure. Yeah, I didn't mean late game, just like later on in the game. So like, yeah, my bad wording. But mid to evening game. You know,
mid to evening.
4 o'clock game. 4 o'clock game.
About 5:30 p.m. Can we go with that?
Yeah, okay.
All right.
Between 4:30 and 5:30. That's giving us an hour leeway. Yeah, early on though. And
afternoon tea. Just broken out the fine china.
Broken out the fine Flame Tongues.
And you're gonna Wrath that bad boy right down. Got it. Glad we cleared that one up.
Yeah, good. Me too. This is a pretty strong turn though, and this instead of being, you know, we were talking, you know, too early, too late. This is like a power turn, and it is going into the turn 6, or at least the 6 mana turn for Mitsuhide, which is turn 6.
A little bit interested in the thing from below positioning here. Obviously, Taunt next to the Flame Tongue Totem. Common Wisdom suggests that's correct. That's the minion that's going to get attacked into, so you want to give it the attack buff. But by putting the big chunky minion in the middle-ish of the board, he's reducing the amount of potential he can get out of the Flame Tongue Mamba, if you want to look at it that way, right? It means he has less power to trade through these minions.
Also, that doesn't really play around Meteor that well.
Sure.
Look, it's late in the day.
Hey, innovate, Yogg. Could have happened.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. See, got to play around everything.
That's what I'm here for, buddy.
Yeah,
bailing out your ridiculous statements.
It was meant to be ridiculous.
I know, but I turned it into reality.
Meh. That's no fun. Oh, not now the play around Meteor, though. Look at that. Look at that pirate. No, never mind. Okay, well, Patchy's going to push some damage, and already Mitsuhide is fairly pressured. There was the Innovate into the Primordial Drake. Ooh, okay, there's Primordial Drake number 2. That actually lines up pretty well.
Well, it does go into an 8/6. That's less ideal, right? You're going to have 4/8 down against an 8/6 at that point. But otherwise, I'd probably rather have an 8/8 trading into my 4/8 than having an 8/8 trade into my face.
You have Swipe, right?
Yeah.
I think that's my plan.
Yep.
You've already got Swipe, and
down.
then you can try and follow up. Because at the moment, what else are you even doing? Like, do you really want to swipe into Feral Rage? I mean, you can, but you take 8. Maybe you do that and then go into Drake, save the coin, but...
I mean, that's not even a full clear either, is it?
No, there'll still be the Pirate up, of course.
Yeah.
A 1/1.
1/1, yeah, you're right, sorry.
That's what I'm here for, mate. Keeping the simple things simple. I don't know, actually. Maybe that's better, and then you follow up with the Drake next turn.
So the problem with going with the coin Drake line here is like, okay, sure, you swipe next turn and take care of the remainder of the Sea Giant, as that was the plan. But then what else are you doing if you don't draw like the perfect, I don't know, Jade Spirit to pair with that on the next turn? So I guess Mitsuhide just sees the removal turn as a decent plan for him here, and then he's just going to hold out, and it's going to work out really, really nice for him here, because Fluffy is just forced to redevelop into this Primordial Drake turn. Would have been a different story if we'd have been looking at some Doppelgangster Evolve action He does hit a 3 health minion off the Evolve, but he also hits Ancient Watcher. Darkshire Librarian will at least draw a card even after it gets farmed by that Primordial Drake.
And Nat Pagel on the board as well. Not Nat Pagel, for you listening to our mobile. Yeah, I like this as well. I was going to say, the more I look at that play from Mitsuhide, I like it because you can coin this. You can coin Earthen Scales on it. So you gain a bit more armor, make it a bit more durable. So this actually does feel a lot better the more I stare at this play.
Nailed the Pagel.
Nail the Pagel.
Hiding this Manatide Totem behind his Stonehill defender here might be one of his few ways to victory, although now that he's been offered White Eyes, it might be tempting, but nope, looks like he's going to go full value with the Alakir, and as I said, just hide this Manatide, try and get 2 or 3 draws out of this thing if at all possible.
Just wants the deeps. Barnes, mainly used as a combo with Evolve. Kind of a mini...
There's a little bit more to it than that. I think there are still like a good chunk of high rolls in the deck, particularly with the special effect totems.
Yeah.
Even because, you know, off Barnes, you still discount your thing from below when you hit one of those totems as well. So the deck is kind of missing a proactive 4-drop as well when you look at the curve.
That is true.
Right? Like you have Jade Lightning and that's about it. That's why we've seen some people mess around with Jade Spirit even before it got that elemental tag. So Barnes kind of fits into that plan as well.
I do like it as a budget Evolve though.
I do too.
It is kind of sweet a lot of the time actually.
You just hit thing from below and then get a 7-drop out of your 4-drop with Evolve. Yeah, it's crazy.
You can even hit Doppelgangster.
Yep.
And the Barnes 4 into 5 actually is pretty decent in terms of the way the numbers line up. Speaking of Doppelgangster, speaking of Evolve, there we go.
Would you not like 3 of those?
There we go. It was like, if I Evolve though, that gets buffed.
That gets buffed. Yeah, we know that's not how that works. Twitch chat, shut up. No one likes it.
Okay, another poison. Now there's no like AoE. 2 Drakes and a sorry, one Drake and a swipe gun, right?
Both Drakes.
No, 2 Drakes. Innovated outright. Yeah.
Yep.
2 Drakes and a swipe. Just not that much left, and is Fluffy just gonna take this now?
Double Gangster Evolve is a hell of a combination against Druid. It's so hard for them to beat.
You got good ones as well. Pretty decent shapes.
I mean, it's okay.
You got no bad ones, put it that way.
It's below average, yeah, but like below average was fine in that position. As long as he didn't tragically low roll, yeah, he'll take some Yeti-shaped things just fine. Thank you very much.
Especially because there's not much being face down on the board, right? Right. Alakir as well to help out with these trades, combined with the claws that are Jades. Okay, it's looking really clean for Fluffy now. Take it. Health doesn't matter now.
Nope. The only relevance to his own health total here is the Yogg that we know is in Mitsuhide's deck, and this is now pretty much a Yogg game. There is no other way back into this.
Yeah, and, you know, did look a little bit dicey there. Those Drakes did some damage. But that Evolve just got... Yeah, I like it. Yeah.
This game is 100% linearly defined by Yogg right now, and the best play against Yogg is to smash your opponent in the face as hard as you possibly can.
Agreed. And that is just going to be the first game going over to Fluffy, and Mitsuhide losing with the Jade Druid, and the problem is there is Taunt Warrior in Fluffy's lineup.
There is, and it really did make the opening skirmish of just the pick order, the mind games, hugely important, because one of you is going to lose a deck in a mirror match just due to queue order, right? And that's going to put you in a devastating position because in the mirror match, that's then going to leave a hole in your opponent's lineup that you don't have, or sorry, a hole in your lineup where you don't have access to the right counter to your opponent's deck. Yeah,
it's going to be the Shaman versus now the Warrior Mitsuhide is going for. So yeah, I mean, it's looking just a natural pick for the Warrior to go against the Shaman, but then again, you know, Fluffy then picks Jade Druid, and then does Fluffy just win? Because this is one of the matches that instead of being sweeper matches, it's more the actual last hero standing of, I win, you counter pick. You win, I counter pick, and go backwards. But because the first win means you're always that 1 point ahead, means you win that best of 5 normally.
And because there is then that counter pick missing, right? When
exactly.
Fluffy gets to his Taunt Warrior, there is no longer the Jade Druid left to counter pick it. Mitsuhide will have to win this matchup and then take a further unfavorable with his Taunt Warrior. But that unfavorable that he's going to come up against is most likely going to be Jade Druid. And that is not just an unfavorable, but a tragically unfavorable.
Yeah. Definitely a tough one. He does have to get through this one first. I mean, Shaman can beat Warrior. It's not like it's impossible or, you know, it's a super, you know, one-sided matchup, in my opinion. I think the Shaman deck is very good all round. And
when you slam Doppelgangster Evolve on 5 and can follow that up on curve with Bloodlust, it wins fairly often, actually.
Yeah. I've got actual percentages on that, but I will go with a fairly often in the afternoon.
In the afternoon? Do you have a specific time frame on that?
This is 3:30 till 4:30.
Okay.
4:30 till 5:30 is the evening, early evening.
Okay.
Well, technically, any time afternoon is afternoon.
Mind blown. Double Acolyte is pretty solid. It's like a suitably irritating board right now. And yeah, Fluffy Snap responds with the Devolve.
I mean, yeah, just take the hero power, right?
That is not the direction we are used to seeing Doomsayers appear from. It's usually the 1-drop totems turning into Doomsayers, not the 3-drops devolving into Doomsayers. But hey, he lost his own Mana Tide and he's given a free turn of tempo back to Mitsuhide. That wasn't actually a great outcome for Fluffy there at all.
I was actually just going to ask you how you feel about that, because you did remove both Acolytes from the game. 0 draw Acolytes. But that is a pretty big deal.
I think when you establish the fact that you were devolving anyway, that was happening, right?
Yes.
Like, landing the Doomsayer was much, much worse for Fluffy than it was for Mitsuhide in that spot.
Oh. Nice. Looked away, turned around, was like, we've switched to Arena.
Like I said, jam it on 5. Hope they don't have the Brawl. It's a big, big win condition for you. There is Ghoul Sleep with the Fishes, but that's not going to be good enough to clear the board completely. It's going to take a good chunk out of the 6/6s.
Can come down. It probably won't, but it could.
Hogger and the Knoll are going to go down, but still so much damage going to start getting pushed now. Fluffy is just going to load up here. He has the freedom of kind of having the free roll matchup in this point, so he can take some risks. He can play the unfavorable matchup a bit more liberally, try and make some things happen, just be as aggressive as he possibly can.
You say taking risks. He has 2 almost 0 mana thing from belows, a Jade Claws and Bloodlust as refill.
Yep.
Fluffy's in a great position here.
He is.
I'm talking about Knolls. Do you remember my suggestion for our first team name? How about Knoll?
Back in the Hex days?
Yeah. That was way better than Hex.
Was that before or after I suggested cards against your Manatee?
That was also a good one. That was we had the best ones there, and we ended up with Hex.
I know. Hex kind of sucked.
How about Knoll? I love that. Could have been such a good icon as well. Osric, Oni Direhorn, which TJ and Admirable know quite well. The card they asked for in the HGG.
Yeah, they asked for the 6-drop Direhorn dude.
And they got the actual Direhorn hatchling, not the ornery one.
I like the double taunt turn here from Mitsuhide. Didn't get baited into throwing out the Brawl too early. He wants to hold on to that for as long as he can. Understands that Primordial Drake against most styles of hand from Shaman in this position would be good enough on the following turn, so he doesn't need to throw out that kill switch just yet with the Brawl. Little does he know that the hand from Fluffy is about as chunky as it gets in terms of this deck. He's already seen 1 Doppel Evolve hit, and having both things from below in hand is just able to resist the Primordial Drake about as well as this deck can do. From belows or things from below, by the way? What side of that one do you come down on?
Things from below.
Okay.
It's not like sheep, right?
You have to think about it.
Well, yeah, I have to measure my words when I talk to you. You pick them apart. So you like the 8-2 on the right into the Bloodhoof, and then the trade plus weapon, and then go face for 8? Fluffy does.
Apparently Fluffy does, yeah. I was looking at the potential Faceless Shambler, seeing if he could make a 4-mana 5/5 out of one of these thing from belows, right? Because he pretty much always can with how cheap they are. So he took a 5-mana 3/6 over a 4-mana 5/5 there, essentially.
Yeah, that's true.
Obviously, the rope was burning, so he might not have had time to consider that implications. But I think I like Faceless Shambler myself in that position. It would mean that you'd have to commit 2 big threats together, right? Like, you'd have to play Thing from Below and the Faceless.
Yeah, you have to do them, yeah, because there's nothing else in the deck,
then
right?
That way, you kind of play into Brawl a little bit more. And speaking of Brawl, That is a huge win for Mitsuhide, considering the power of some of the minions that were in play there. Just the 0-3 innocuous Flame Tongue totem hangs around.
I've seen Flame Tongue totem survive multiple brawls today.
He's a trooper.
Ooh. Ooh. Ooh.
One more?
Ooh.
There we go.
Double Bloodlust. Can't play it next turn, of course. But suddenly, these Primal Fin totems are the scariest things in the world.
They are. They are indeed.
+6 damage per minion.
Yep.
It's insane. Again, it looked like Mitsuhide was stabilizing, and he still might. But double Bloodlust is a hell of a combo. Just need to get through the Drake, though.
He does.
I think that's the tipping point, right?
Stonehill's a pretty good pickup this turn, though, because, again, it allows him to play 2 taunts. The Primordial Drake just doesn't really have a big impact this turn. It's 1 taunt. It's one of your most useful sweepers used, and all it kills is a 3-1 Murloc.
Yeah.
Yep, I like the double taunt play. Potentially even maybe get a Sunwalker off the Stonehill Defender some of the time.
Damn.
Yep, just wants to fill out his curve.
Could be a Sunwalker. Bit better.
Could be. There it is. Divine Shield. Take it. Boom. Sunwalker +1.
Ornery Sunwalker.
Took the 6 mana card there, so now he can go double taunt over multiple turns. It allowed him to go 3-6 this turn, then next turn he can go 5-5,
yep.
And then he's actually putting significant walls in the way over and over again. The problem is that horrible, horrible feeling I talked about the last time I cast, which is developing minions into a Flame Tongue totem. That is just a miserable position to be in.
Yeah.
Now, though, now the Primordial Drake is looking a little more spicy.
Calm down with that 5-4. I mean, this does just set up for these Bloodlusts just win the game, basically.
Does he get a read from the fact that Primordial Drake did not come down last turn? If he does, it's a bad read, because that was not a good Primordial Drake to hit the board.
Boom. Now Brawl.
Mitsu looking like he's turned the corner here for sure.
That's just Black Knight off the top. They're not playing Black Knight.
They're not.
Oh, this Giant can come down as well, but there's the Brawl.
There is the Brawl.
The Brawl wasn't there. Maybe the Giant does the work. Where do you put the Giant? On the right. And that is Fluffy saying, okay, if you have no Brawl, I got this.
Yeah, he's seen 1 Ghoul, 1 Sleep with the Fishes, 1 Primordial Drake.
Can't blame him for this.
And 1 Brawl come out already. That's so much AoE in the top half of Mitsuhide's deck that he's entitled to say no more. This is my final push. Maybe the fact that he had double Bloodlust meant that he could have undercommitted a little bit, because the double Bloodlust represented a huge amount of damage even with just 3 or 4 minions remaining in play. But he did also have to plow through a Primordial Drake with that damage as well. So you can definitely understand the all-in from Fluffy.
Bloodlust hit Evolve. This is rough. I think you do have to Bloodlust.
Yeah, I think
I'm not sure about the Evolve. Yeah. The Evolve was more of a joke. I promise. So,
yeah, a 6 mana 5/5 going into a 7-drop isn't even a massive improvement a lot of the time, and then you're just getting some,
well,
some
5/3.
random. Yeah, sure, 5/3, but then a random like janky 2-drop from a totem. It's not a massive improvement.
I think like Fluffy just has to draw Doppelgangster next turn.
Yes.
Pretty much.
Does he have another Stonehill Defender left? Because like Stonehill Defender, pick up another decent chunky taunt minion and then evolve that would be reasonable.
You've got the deck list in front of you.
I just meant, has he played 2
Oh,
this
he
game?
played 1, I think.
Okay.
Last one we saw before that was the Alakir in the previous game, right?
Yes.
Well, this is going to start to be a bit insurmountable now for Fluffy. Jade Lightning not going to do it. Bottom right, Fluffy. Close to bottom right, buddy. Mitsuhide is going to even this up 1-1 between friends, but now, you know, I'm going to give you a total of 1 guess as to what Fluffy's going to lock in versus this warrior.
Yeah. It's going to be some medium druid, isn't it?
Legades.
Legades.
Yeah. I love putting a line in front of everything. It sounds awesome.
It was appropriate for a while when we were casting the French players, but well, not so much.
Don't care if it's appropriate. A lot of stuff I do isn't appropriate.
Just feels good.
Yeah, I just like it. La Jades. You can go Jade. La Jade. Druid.
And there it is. Le Jade Idol is going to come out turn 1 to get that Jade train rolling. Wild Growth on 2. Gluttonous Ooze to shut down some tempo, potentially. Not a bad start at all. The most important thing here, though, is that permanent ramp. Rookie error in this matchup even is like keeping Innovate a lot of the time. Like, it's just not good enough. You need the consistent ramp, you need the card draw. Those are the two things you need. That one-off spike of even being able to innovate out an Aya early, it's just not good enough. You need the consistent advantage of Wild Growth and Jade Blossom.
Yeah. Les Swipe's not going to get much work done, though, I don't think, at the moment, so I imagine that he's going to get thrown.
I'm going to give you a Le Slap in a minute.
Le lol.
All right, redeemed. Save.
Got him. Okay.
You know when a joke gets so bad, but then you just power through to the point where it gets funny again?
Yes, very well.
All right.
Okay, so Jade Idol. We were just going to say it again. It's like just every single card.
I did clench a little bit.
The Jade Idol's going to get brought down now, and it's just to start the ramp, right? You know, you don't need to like, ooh, I'll shuffle this Idol. That's not going to make your draws any better. Not for this point in the game. It's going to get kind of contested by this Acolyte, though. I don't mean contested, I mean the Acolyte's going to gain benefits from the 1-1 being on the board.
Yeah, it does have the Wrath to bank on this, though, and ooh, Fandral. Fandral is spicy.
You just play Fandral?
I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, like, you know, take your one card, Mr. Warrior friend. I like it. It puts you too far ahead not to do. Nice play from Fluffy.
Dude, the turn's so good as well because not only do you hit the Nourish, you know what you're spending that rebanked mana on, which is the Wrath that you already have in hand right now. It's not even like you're trying to draw something else to synergize.
And you do the
Fandral.
damage and draw a card from the Wrath. So you don't even need to like Wrath for 3 and miss a card here.
Does Mitsu play a Shield Slam?
But you guys say, does he play a Shield Block? I was like, well, I hope so.
He does not.
Oh. Nourish.
Jade Druid fans love to see this. All 7 of them out of the 60 million players.
6 in Lorinda.
Yep.
Innovate as well. Innovate not so much for right now, but suddenly with drawing cards, Innovate becomes powerful again, right? Because Innovate early on not needed, but Innovate mid to late game, when you have a large hand size, you can do those extra little things. Even if it's just a hero power to make a trade a bit cleaner, it does change a lot of outcomes.
Cycling the Wrath as well, looking for Auctioneers as soon as possible. That is the one piece of the puzzle here that's going to turn this 90% one game into a 100% one game, because he is already so far ahead. He was ahead when he queued the matchup in the first place, and Fandral sticking to the board has only accentuated that.
Yeah, now is that, you know, you look at this, a Fiery Warrack, Sleep with the Fishes, sick turn to kill a Fandral.
Sick. How much of the toys out of the pram mentality do you go for here if you're Mitsu? Do you just say, you know what, Fandral, you've done your job. I'm just going to leave you around forever now and just go back to my game plan of developing taunts? Because, yes, you can answer this Fandral right now, but the game plan as Taunt Warrior against Jade Druid is just to windmill slam every taunt in your hand as quickly as you can and get
start clicking that button. Yeah.
Race their Jades to before they get to 8-8. Like, you want to race to your new hero power before their Jades get to 8-8 and then start getting 50-50 situations where it's kill a big Jade or hit face every single time. So, I mean, maybe Mitsu sits around and thinks about it, but at the end of the day, Fandral's still way, way, way too dangerous to leave around.
And I was even looking at Harrison and saying, do you just play Harrison into Fandral? But then the problem is there are so many cards that do 4 for Druid.
Yeah.
That, you know, even a Earthen Scales on the Fandral beats
a value
it.
trade.
Yeah, so it's like that doesn't even make sense either. So Mitsuhide really not having a lot of good options here. He is sticking with the game, but we can see especially that it's looking progressively more grim. There is that Gadget Zan. Now Gadget Zan, Innovate, Swipe, Trade as one of many options here.
I don't think there's any rush to Auctioneer just yet. But yeah, the Auctioneer draw, signed, sealed, delivered. Pack it up, zip it up, body bag, next game. This is going 2-1 Fluffy, almost certainly.
The next line was I'm yours, actually, but okay.
What, is that before or after the body bag part?
Signed, sealed, delivered, I'm yours.
I'm aware, yeah.
Just checking your musical knowledge.
Yeah.
I got the best deals anywhere.
He's going to go Auctioneer.
I don't mind it. It helps clean this up, right? You keep your taunt, you throw away a 2-2 Jade, oh no.
I mean, he could have done the same thing with just Jade Spirit instead, right? Just could have gone swipe Jade Spirit and just kept developing.
Yes.
He does have the second Auctioneer in his deck, of course, but Auctioneer is really a card you want to have for the super late game if you get there, because it lets you undo the only downside of Infinite Jade Idol, which is you just draw one Jade Golem every single turn. So once all the removal's gone and you're down to that super late game situation, it's even more important in this matchup than it ever has been. Because if you just play one minion per turn, if Taunt Warrior has got their quest complete, they can just snipe you in the face for 8 or take that 50-50 against your Jade Golem.
And then the armor you've gained really dissipates fast.
Right.
When you take in 8 for 2 mana now, Fluffy's like, oh, Brawl. Perfect. And I think that might be why he also was okay with Gadget Zen. If a Brawl came out, well, look at the board now again. Right, and Gadget Zen was always going to demand a Brawl. Because he's already seen Asleep with the Fishes, right?
Yep.
So it's very likely either brawls or your opponent's not got brawl and then you win harder. So not too bad here. These options for Mitsuhide are though.
Sorry. The mouse cursor there was wonderful because he played Stonehill Defender and he went, Tar Lord, highest value option. And then thought about it for a second, just slid back over the other side and went, nah, you know what? Shield Bearer. Let's just get this quest done as fast as we can.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree. He basically, Mitsuhide needs to complete the quest and brawl and cross his fingers and toes at this point to win this game.
And steal that Yogg from Fluffy's hand, most importantly.
Does Fluffy just go for the Yogg lethal?
No!
no, he doesn't. Okay.
Good talk.
Le Yogg.
Getting an aneurysm. It's finally happening.
Took me a couple of years, but I got there.
God, Jade Spirit's enthusiastic.
Sounds good as the Murloc. Were you there about the fan art?
The fan art?
Oh, okay, so just while, I mean, okay, let's take this seriously for a second, but this is looking rough.
It is.
There was a Silverhand Murloc, and it was on the board against Deathwing Dragonlord, potentially.
Okay.
And it could have got poison. So 1/1 Murloc and Deathwing Dragonlord. I was like, if anyone likes me and they're good at art, I want the fan out of that happening. A Silverhand little Murloc going like, going against like Deathwing Dragonlord.
For scale, as a complete non-role player, how big is Deathwing?
When you kill him, spoiler alert, in WoW, there is a party of approximately 20 people fighting on his back.
Okay.
So big.
Yes.
He laid waste to the biggest human city on his own.
Meanwhile, Mitsuhide is just doing everything he can, just trucking along, trying to find a solution to this impossible puzzle right now. Desperately trying to fill out this quest as best he can. The Shield Bearer pick was, you know, I think definitely shows an understanding of what he needs to try to do. I just don't think it's going to work out particularly well for him in this spot.
And this is what can happen. We've talked, or at least I've talked a lot all weekend so far about the power of lineups, especially in Last Hero Standing. It is very difficult to win unfavored matchups when your opponent can just spam them. You know, like they can just, oh, Jade Druid beats this. And then guess what? Jade Druid's got a pretty good matchup versus your other deck as well. You know, you don't get away with it like you kind of can in Conquest a little bit, where if you've got a deck that stomps yours, but that deck just gets a win straight away, well, you don't have to play it against.
Right.
You know, like you can just, you forget about it for the rest of the series.
Right.
It doesn't work in Last Hero Standing. And we have seen Jade Druid do wondrous things in this tournament so far. That'd be rough as well. These players are practice partners, and Mitsuhide being able to win Seat Story and then go on to a high, I mean, top 16 is high finish, especially at DreamHack this big.
Out of nigh on 300 players,
yes, that is very good.
Top 16 is an incredible accomplishment.
But to, you know, if he could win it, that's the thing dreams are made of as a Hearthstone player.
Second Nourish pickup for Fluffy is huge because his hand was just about running out of gas. He was down to just, you know, Wild Growths, a Yogg he doesn't want to play. Just by some miracle, he ends up burning his second Jade Idol off the Yogg, and then there's a potential fatigue win condition for the Taunt Warrior coming back again. And so the Nourish giving him plenty of gas again, the Jade Blossom and the Ire combined with the Jade Spirit, pretty much all he's going to need.
I love this hand from Mitsuhide. It's just the Expendables, right? It's just a Shield Bearer, a Dirty Rat, and a Ghoul. Riding a Drake. Let's go.
Get in there and fight, maggots.
Woohoo! He even loves it when he gets pulled out from rat. He's like, yeah, I'm in.
You shall not pass.
For the first time since Reynad Zoo in 2014, Shield Bearer enters the competitive metagame.
Shield Bearer was actually played in Quest Rogue a little bit.
They did it get experimented with, yeah, you're right.
Green Sheep won Insomnia with it.
You're right. You're right.
I'm always right. No one just believes me. Fluffy's like, which one of my cards would I like to win this game with now?
Crucially, he has at least won the race with the Jade Golems. Only 6-6 into 7-7 coming out from Aya here, but more importantly, he's taken a tremendous beating along the way, so he probably does not have the time now to swing back an advantage through those Ragnaros hero powers.
Yeah, well, you can see how this game is winnable for the Warrior.
Yes.
If the Warrior did his last turn, but with a Brawl, you know.
Or if this game developed in exactly the same way, apart from Fandral Nourish didn't happen.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, nothing particularly went crazily well for Mitsuhide. Did have a Brawl available, but that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, if there was one Brawl, one minion survived, suddenly that Rag hero power gets some crazy work done. Mitsuhide is going to try and hold on.
Oops.
No, good see, yep.
Fluffy taking 2-1 lead over Mitsuhide in the battle of the practice partners, and we really set it up from the beginning. The fact that Fluffy got the advantage in the opening queue means that old last hero standing cliche of counter queue going back and forth is just going to pan out in his favor, because now, yes, Mitsuhide can queue his Evolve Shaman into the Jade Druid and try and win that matchup as we saw in the opener, but then there's just the Taunt Warrior counter to round out the series in Fluffy's favor.
Yeah, we don't like to, call series or games too early, and we're definitely not, as things can happen. This is Hearthstone, but the huge advantage is with Fluffy here. I think that is extremely correct to say.
Yeah, I mean, the matchups pan out in Fluffy's favor, but, that's information on a spreadsheet. Hearthstone is not played by spreadsheets. Hearthstone is played by human beings who have thought processes and decisions that can actually change those things in their regard. So Mitsuhide can just outplay an unfavorable here if he can get there. He might just get a lucky draw when he needs it in the right spot. Both of those things are possible in a card game. This is not over.
In this series as well, though, because they're practice partners, they both know each other's thought patterns and approaches to a matchup. So they'll know their styles as well, because players actually do have different ideas and approaches to any given matchup.
Yep.
And they'll just share them, because that's the whole point of a practice group. You decide what is best, and you do that. So even that is going to be a limiting factor to a certain extent on these players. Maybe they try and mix it up a little bit. Tough one.
Maybe they will, but what Mitsu did not want going into the one favorable matchup that he has left is that Patches draw. Nothing he could have done about it. Of course, at least the double Primal Fin totem has kind of bailed him out here. That's at least given him a really nice early game development play. First one ate the Wrath, but no ramp for Fluffy, and that second Primal Fin is going to stick to the board here and start flooding that board state for potentially the Bloodlust. But we do see the emergency, the breaking case of emergency swipe in hand for Fluffy.
You know what would be awesome?
Go on.
If cards had, like, people have talked about alternate skins
Sure.
and stuff. There's a new Patches, right? Not what people want to see, but only alternate art. It's called La Patches, and it has a baguette instead of a sword.
And a beret.
Yeah,
And a black and white stripy
that
jumper.
would be come on, you've got to appreciate that one. That would be sick.
No. Dead meme already.
Never.
Hard pass.
Just like Shaman, it'll never die. What is dead can never die. Swipe, though, is going to get some work done here. Is this a reasonable enough swipe? Your other players like Innovate and Nourish, which could ramp you to the Primordial Drake a little bit quicker, but you could also just Innovate Drake on 6.
Yeah, it doesn't though, right? It goes to 7.
That's what I'm saying. A little bit quicker,
right.
It doesn't get you there.
Right.
So I actually think that the swipe, because of that, is fine. You can just Nourish next turn, draw cards, or just go for it onto the Drake. So.
I was going to be a slow turn for Mitsu until that thing from below draw. Was able to weave that in with the totem. Now he is threatening a ton of bloodlust damage yet again with the patches in hand. It is the one small saving grace. You would much rather you were able to bring it out with the Blood Cell Corsair for consistent pressure early on, but if you do draw it, it can be combined with that bloodlust later on.
Kind of a rough turn for Fluffy there, wasn't it? He did nourish, which is fine, but he was always he was 1 mana short of everything he wanted to do, innovating out the Drake or just playing a Jade Behemoth. So just a little bit away, but it does mean the rest of his turns now, especially with double innovate, looks like he's going to be pretty flexible. He could even bring out the Earthen Scales if he feels like he needs it, because it means he would trade evenly with the thing from below. Because the problem is if the thing from below goes into the Drake, it does get the heal from that. Oh no, the totem will die from the Drake. Sorry, take it back. Still be on 1 health.
Mitsu is just not prepared for this Innovate Primordial Drake. He has no idea.
Just look at the camera, right?
The
it's
nod.
Just, yeah, the nod, the side glance saying, right, okay, this needs to be evolved.
It's the nod of a player that gets it, though. That's the nod of a player that says, you know what? I've had a spectacular run recently. Today was not my day. Top 16 in a 300-man tournament. If I'm going to lose to anyone, I'm glad it's my friend and practice partner. But it's looking very much like this one is going south very, very quickly for Mitsuhide.
Yeah, just in this game, if Fluffy did lose, he has the Taunt Warrior ready and waiting in the back to just pull out and, you know, give this Shaman another tough run. But again, I just don't think it's going to get there. The fact that this thing can't even trade into the Drake on its own, it needs help, and the help's going to be just, yeah, this J-Claw's 4 to face.
Positioning what phase? No, I'm kidding. That's the only way it could happen.
Yeah. Use now. It's available. Can innovate it.
Yep.
Why not? Get an extra minion, remove the J-Claws. Makes the trade onto the J Behemoth even with the Flame Tongue not good. So, sure.
Still in that position where you are developing minions into a Flame Tongue totem, though, and there is the patches in hand to increase the efficacy of the value trades.
Do you just patch his Bloodlust?
Patches Lust will give you a Patches clean hit into the 6 to take care of it.
Because otherwise it's just, oh, your other 2 minions you've got left. Great.
Doesn't really get you the board back, though. It's basically like you take care of this problem that's in front of you and you pass a free turn back to the Jade Druid.
But I genuinely think that Mitsuhide is just on the I need to draw evolve.
In which case your turn's Manatide Totem, right?
I guess, yeah. I guess you've got enough health to not have this board worry you dramatically at this point. Looks like Mitsuhide is going to queue the attacks in just to get the value right now from this Flame Tongue. You've got kind of like tokens on the board. You may as well go in.
Yeah, plays around a second Drake, plays around a second Swipe as well.
Just like, use what you've got when you can.
Yeah, you got a lot of upside working for you in this position.
And now Fluffy can do whatever he wants.
So Auctioneer, 1 Earthen Scales on the 1/1, 1 Earthen Scales on the Auctioneer, make the trades. Looks like the play that he's lining up here.
Pretty reasonable to me.
It's going to Jade Idol, okay. Jade Idol for a 2/2 and then Earthen Scale on the 1/1 so you can trade through. Yeah, this is fine too.
What are you killing with the totem though? What totem are you killing, Sully? Sorry. Yeah, okay. Oh, so he's going for Flame Tongue.
I would kill Manatide every single time. Every single time.
Look at the cards in hand, yeah. Good job, Fluffy. Because the Manatide gives your opponents ways to get back into the game.
Yep.
The Flame Tongue, oh no, say there's like a minion that gets to attack with a buff. Look at your hand. Jade.
Patches is gone, right?
Yeah, there's literally like
that's
nothing.
the only immediacy that's going to come out of Flame Tongue in that position.
Imagine an evolve.
Yeah, a 4th Doppelgangster potentially enters play off the Barns there. An interaction we talked about before, just another way of pulling your high-cost minions to get a cheaper evolve on the board. But no answer to the Auctioneer means epic sax music time. This full 9-mana Auctioneer turn is going to spell the end of Mitsuhide's incredible DreamHack run.
Yeah. You know what's weird as well?
Go on.
Doppelgangster creates 3 minions. Doppel's like double, right? So it just create 2.
Sure. I believe Doppelgangster is just like German for imposter, or Doppelganger is just German for imposter or something like that. So
yeah, that's what I mean. It's like a copy of, like an imposter or a copy of you.
Yeah.
But it's 2 copies. It's just greedy.
Do you know what's
basically
really weird, Raven?
What?
If 6 drops evolved from Doppelgangsters, then why are there still Doppelgangsters?
Oh god. Let's not talk evolution. We don't know who's watching and what they think.
Atheist.
No, it's checkmate the other way.
No, you're actually just wrong. Like, stop.
What? We'll discuss this after the game. Okay. But Fluffy still in control. These doppelgangsters come down. There is a bloodlust threat, I'll call it, but not really a threat since one of the doppelgangsters is down already. 3 2-2s left, and Fluffy can just press cards at this point. Just playing it safe, clearing as much of the board, even use a Foul Rage into a doppelgangster and saying, hey.
Means if there is an evolved top deck, there's only one 6-drop coming out.
Exactly.
So, you know, why not just play it as safe as you absolutely can? There's no way you're losing a resource advantage with 2 more Jade Spirits and an Auctioneer Wild Growth turn in hand. So just make sure you don't lose on tempo advantage to evolve being drawn. That is it. It's going to go down. The battle of the practice partners does go to Fluffy. And honestly, I would love to give you a more complex, you know, spruced up account of that series. It was won in the queue order, right? Like, as soon as that came down, it was going to plan out in Fluffy's favor. Yep,
definitely correct. It's kind of sad to see a champion of a previous DreamHack, not the previous, but in last year, didn't make it to the top 8 and maybe take another title. I would love that storyline to have here at Valencia, but it didn't happen. Now, although that didn't happen, Fluffy has the chance to grab his own first championship title.
Yeah, and you got to just think that the power of a strong practice group. We've seen Orange and Powder do extremely well when they've been just hardcore practicing together. We see Fluffy and Mitsuhide, who also practice with Orange and Powder. You know, these guys are just putting up the results when they like laser focus on the game, boot camp beforehand, and just spitball ideas around. So I think even though it's unfortunate to see Mitsuhide out, Fluffy going forward, and then just, you know, another success for that group overall is just a great thing to see.
And that group as a whole, like, we haven't even finished fully accounting for who's in there. There's Cydonia, there's Boston, like, all of these top players have grouped together into a very, very powerful group to prep for this tournament. No surprise to see at least 2 members there pushing. And yeah, Mitsu will be disappointed. We're disappointed to see Mitsu go down and not continue the legacy. But as we mentioned during the cast, if he was going to lose to anyone, he'll be happy that it's his friend and practice partner.
At least that's that, right? Yeah. And they can, like at least say, well, at least one of us isn't in the paid.
There you go.
Right? Guaranteed.
Yep.
But tomorrow we'll have 7 matches left because we'll be broadcasting from the top 8 onwards with the single elimination. In a few seconds, we're gonna see the entire bracket, how it went, because just to remind you guys,
there we go.
We only have seen 2 matches from the top 16, and from all those matches, well, let's see. Harry Seldon won against Torque, the fan favorite from France, didn't make it through, although it was a really emotional journey for him. Then we have Mitsuhide lost off against Fluffy, of course, that we have seen on screen. Diggin versus Meliador. Meliador takes it. We didn't see that guy yet at all, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't believe so,
right?
no.
Okay, so tomorrow we're gonna meet a new face in a top 8. Turner against Cruzaderos, I guess. Turner won. Oh, nice. I would say nice run from Turner, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Star of Italy's HGG team coming up big in this tournament so far. And then there's another new face that you're going to look out there. We saw Benene or Benin, not quite sure. We will double check how that one is pronounced before tomorrow.
And I feel like you took the lead here because the next pair is someone you would really like to point out.
There you go. I was
right?
going to say it's another new face. We saw Benene on stream, but his opponent for tomorrow is going to be a new face to most people, but not to Raven and myself. It's going to be Ben, who we're going to have to get to change that tag at some point because it's just atrocious.
I have mentioned it to him multiple times. It's also his Twitch viewer tag.
Yes.
And it still annoys me. I'm just like, hey, Ben, sort your name out.
It's abysmal.
Sounds very aggressive. But Ben, I know, well, one, going up against PNC, that is no easy match at all. But I know Ben will be ecstatic. I think this is actually his first event outside of the UK.
I think you might be right.
And hitting a DreamHack and then doing this well in a field of 280 plus players. Like, he'll just be absolutely nuts. He's recently joined a team as well. They're going to be smiling, I imagine, at this point.
Yeah, definitely true. And next pair, unfortunately, we didn't get to see Osha because he lost to Nuffum. And Osha had that insane run from 0-2 to 8-2 and now lost in the single elimination top 16. Unlucky, well, but it happens, right? It's the single elimination bracket. But he can still add to his resume top 16 at DreamHack Valencia, the biggest DreamHack to date. Cartoha against Tyler. Woo!
Yeah. Breaks my heart, this one, to be honest.
Tyler
Same.
lost complexity, loses the player from top 16.
Wow. So savage, just rubbing it in, G. Like, how have G2
Salt.
done in this tournament?
Pretty
so far,
well.
though?
We're still in?
Yeah, we're still in.
Okay. Well, then so are complexity.
Exactly.
We've got 2 members in.
Fair enough.
Just wanted to just salt the wound a little bit.
It's
you know?
not that hard to do. I'm a very salty individual, Lothar.
All right, well, that's actually the entire day. We had seen day 1 yesterday, first 5 rounds of Swiss. Today we have seen 5 rounds on Swiss. And on top of that, 2 matches from the top 16. It has been another long day. Tomorrow will be a little bit shorter because we only left with 7 matches, I said before, but they will be all high stakes. And at the end of the day, we're gonna crown a new champion for the DreamHack, for the 9th DreamHack Grand Prix. So from me, from production, from Raven, Sotel, and Lorinda, thank you very much for watching. We're gonna see you guys tomorrow, the same time, 11 a.m. European time.